Where does this experience rate for you?
This experience is second to being a mom.
You what?
How did we get here? And why do people hate Katy Perry now? Why does she still not get it? And how far is she willing to go to cling to this delusional, corporate-filtered, crystal-rubbing, fake deep image she's built for herself? Because this didn't start with her hopping on the Bezos discount roller coaster to space. That was just the cherry on top. Katy Perry has been on a steady decline, self-sabotaging her way from pop icon to a literal meme, and unlike her, we're not going to pretend it's empowering.
And why do each one of us have our own fingerprint?
This isn't a fall from grace, this is glittery self-destruction. From billionaire-sponsored stunts to cringy metaphysical monologues about the divine feminine, she's so deep in the act she can't even see how fake it all looks anymore. She works with Dr. Luke. Yeah, that Dr. Luke. She's struggling to sell out basic venues. She's clinging to a pop blueprint that expired decades ago, while her peers, Taylor and Cardi, evolved. What about Katy though? Well, she just doubled down on the clownery. So when exactly did we start hating Katy Perry? Why hasn't she caught on? And how far is she willing to go to keep up this painfully artificial image? Let's rewind a little. It's the early 2010s. She's at her peak. Teenage Dream is out. She's goofy, fun, and most importantly, she's self-aware. The whipped cream cannons weren't art, but she knew that. Then, eventually, pop evolved. It turned more introspective, darker, layered with nuance. Meanwhile, Katy tried to keep up by slapping the words empowerment and vibrations on everything. The result? Girl boss feminism dipped in glitter glue. Empty anthems about rising up, but rising up from what exactly? Your $1 million mansion? She branded herself as a woke new age warrior, but it never landed. Especially not when she contradicted herself every 10 seconds. Liberal icon? Nah, she personally made sure to evict and sue elderly nuns. Feminist? No, she reunited with Dr. Luke, a man blacklisted by most of the industry due to literally terrorizing women in the industry. She backed billionaires in elections, hung out with Bezos, and evicted veterans from their homes. And then there's her signature clownery. Public stunts that feel like parodies of activism. Remember the Witness Worldwide livestream? Marketed as a vulnerable and cultural event? It ended up looking like Big Brother with fake therapy sessions and pre-packaged tears. Katy went ghost after Prism, and when she came back, pop had changed. It was moodier, it was sexier, it was sharper. She stuck to her old empowerment playbook, and it sounded like expired diet soda. Flat, sugary, and painfully dated. And let's not forget 143, the album she tried launching a tour off of, which also happens to be one of the worst reviewed pop albums in recent memory. Recycled beats, empty lyrics, and fake deep aesthetics. It tanked. Hard. Yes. The Witness Worldwide livestream. You know, the one with 1 million celebrity cameos just to make it look like it wasn't the train wreck that it was. Yeah, that was the one where Katy cried on camera about absolutely nothing, trying to convince us there was substance behind her performance when, honestly, it was just a lot of yapping. The whole thing felt like a script, and the authenticity was about as real as a TikTok trend, which is to say, not real at all. But here's the thing, Katy Perry isn't the self-aware pop queen we once knew. She's now just a shell of her former self. A desperate clown grasping at any gimmick that'll keep her relevant. She's not funny, at least not anymore, and she's not empowering. And the girl boss feminism is getting real old real fast. It's the perfect way for her to feel powerful without actually having any power. Just say a couple of buzzwords like empowerment and feminism and bam, you're untouchable. It's not about making real change. It's about positioning herself in a way where she's never questioned. She wants us to believe that she's this feminist icon when in reality she's doing the bare minimum. She talks the talk, but never walks the walk. Take her relationship with Dr. Luke, for example. This is not about her not taking a stand about Dr. Luke and what he's done. It's about completely ignoring the fact that other artists have refused to work with him. Artists who, by doing that, left huge sums of money on the table. But nope, Katy is still working with him after all of that. That should tell you everything about how much she really believes in the causes she claims to support. She wants credits for raising awareness, but all she did was take a couple of selfies in front of a camera. Actual action? Sacrifice? Non-existent. But that's Katy, right? A feminist icon in name only. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. The latest example of her hypocrisy. The Blue Origin incident.
Hey, just want to tell you, I love you so much. Love is all you need, and nothing means anything unless it equals love.
Here's the thing about Katy Perry. She's all in with billionaires, especially Jeff Bezos. And you know what they say about billionaires? They love treating their employees like mindless drones, dodging taxes, and generally causing environmental damage just to feed their egos. But when it comes to Blue Origin, Bezos' space company, Katy jumps on that bandwagon faster than you can say taxpayer-funded joyride. Let's talk about that Blue Origin trip. I mean, where do we even begin? She's in space for a hot minute and comes back acting like she just solved world hunger. Seriously, the optics are as absurd as they are out of touch. Katy goes on this 5-minute interview talking and yet manages to say absolutely nothing of substance. The whole "I'm so full of love" shtick is full-on cringe fest. You had Bezos face planting while Katy's out there raising this little daisy up in the sky and going on a monologue about
Daisies are common flowers, but they grow through any condition. They go through cement, they go through cracks, they go through walls. They are resilient, they are powerful, they are strong, they are everywhere. Flowers are...
Yeah. Not to mention her kissing the ground like she's landed on another planet, and then casually drops the line, "This is second to being a mother." You didn't actually even reach space. But yeah, do compare your little joyride to giving life. On a real note, however, this whole thing was just one big marketing stunt orchestrated by Bezos to promote his company. Blue Origin isn't some grand exploration mission, it's SpaceX 2.0, with even more of the rich and famous taking a seat at the table. Celebrities get to amuse themselves while regular astronauts actually do the work of exploring and pushing the boundaries of space travel. As Dr. Tanya Harrison from the Outer Space Institute said, a lot of the comments I saw on social media were things like, "It's like the Real Housewives go to Mars," or "It's the oligarchy in space." Read the room. The timing is terrible. And this is someone who's actually worked on NASA missions to Mars. I'm not done. There's a bigger issue here. Environmental concerns. More rocket launches equals more damage to the ozone layer. But come on, what's that to Katy Perry's space trip of a lifetime? Let the planet and all its people go to hell as long as Miss Katy Perry gets her fair share of adventures. They had to dress this whole thing up as female empowerment. You know what real empowerment looks like? Actual female astronauts, not celebrities using the whole thing for Instagram content and a couple of headlines. Katy Perry isn't a role model. She's not an astronaut. She's not a feminist. She's just a woman who kissed ass, got rewarded for it, made it all about her, and then tried to sell the narrative that she was doing this for other women. Stepping back from this whole thing, Katy Perry doesn't just make headlines for her music. No, she's also got some seriously shady business practices under her belt. You've heard of celebrities who get caught up in all sorts of scandals. But this is next level. Katy Perry evicted a veteran under the most suspicious conditions possible. You'd think that would be enough to bury her, no? But no, she just kept this whole thing under wraps. There's a new law named after her. It's called the Perry Act. Yeah, you heard me. Her name is now so synonymous with fraud, it's got its own legal clause. That's how bad this is. But this wasn't the first time she was financially abusive. Let's go back to 2015 when she tried to buy a property in LA that housed nuns. These nuns begged her to leave them alone. But Katy wasn't having it. Instead of being a decent human being, she sued them. And the worst part? One of the nuns collapsed and died in court after all the stress. Her final words, the last thing she said publicly before dying, were a prayer asking God for strength. And that's how Katy Perry, the girl next door, handles things. Here's the real kicker though. She wants to be perceived as this cute, innocent, just a girl type, all while pulling these dark, manipulative moves. Katy Perry isn't your older sister. She's the evil queen from Snow White, smiling as she's watching you choke on the apple she gave you, waiting for you to die so she can have everything she thinks is hers. That's the real Katy Perry. Let's get real for a second. People tried to warn Katy, and we tried to warn her fans too. Everything she was doing was wrong, but they just won't listen. We've covered a lot of ground here, and while it may seem like a series of unfortunate events, it boils down to one thing: Katy Perry's hypocrisy. She is lying to your face. And honestly, nobody cares about the lies, but it matters when she's preaching the exact opposite of what she's actually doing. She's out here saying one thing and doing another, and that's the real problem. Authenticity is key, and hypocrisy is what kills your career. If you want people to stand by you, give them something to actually root for. People aren't going to back you up just because you've got a hit song or a space trip under your belt. You have to earn their respect. And that means practicing what you preach. As for Katy, she's not the role model the media paints her to be. The real role models are the women engineers who got her into space in the first place. The hardworking female astronauts who, by the way, had their space hijacked by a pop star trying to sell us some fairy tale. If you want to be an inspiration, don't just stand there in front of a camera flashing a peace sign while pretending to fight the system. Real change comes from the ground up, not from a giant space marketing stunt orchestrated by billionaires. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe, and if you thought this was messy, check out our deep dive on Selena Gomez and her professional victim mentality. From cryptic captions to calculated tears, it's all in there.